I don't need this. Can you take it? Thanks. All right, thanks very much. That's a great intro. I had an hour, now I got 15 minutes, so thank you for that. Let me first log in here, so I don't need to do it in a moment. All right, we're all good. So as Dharmesh was saying, I'm going to talk about how digital experience is a team sport. Like everyone here knows how hard it is to build digital experience solution, and you need all types of players. You don't only need a developer, you don't only need a marketer. There's people there's business leaders, there's digital leaders. So we really want to talk to you about those different roles that we see in a company and how Sitecore with XM Cloud is catering for all those different roles to make them all successful and build out successful digital experiences for our shared customers. So I got this slide. I think Dharmesh did it very well, but again, I want to thank the sponsors. We cannot do this event without sponsors. So make sure you visit them, you talk to them. Thanks again for sponsoring. So that saved me 2 minutes back in my time, so that's good. Short introduction about myself. I'm Pieter Brinkman. I've been with Sitecore a bit longer than 12 years, so that makes it a really interesting journey. I know some faces here that have been around with Sitecore as long as that, where we started off as a content management system, then we built it into a DXP, and then later on, now you've seen the last few years, we have this whole move to the composable DXP with our 11 SaaS products. So it's been an incredible journey, and even before I joined Sitecore, I did implementations as a lead developer with Sitecore. So yeah, I enjoy Sitecore in that way. Got 4 kids living in Rotterdam. When I'm not playing with the kids, I'm on the water surfing in any kind of way. If you want to connect, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn or on X, or find me here in the hallways. I'm always open to chat. As Dharmesh was saying, it's really about connecting with each other. So find me, talk to me, and have some good time. So let's start off then with talking about composability and the composable DXP. A lot is going on, and we need to look at the reason why is an industry moving to that composable DXP. Why are we not doing all platform DXP? What's the reason for composable DXP? And one of the main reasons is that really technology stack became the core business for companies. So if you don't have the right technology stack or marketing stack, you won't succeed as a business. And as Sitecore, we know that every business is unique. And we need to acknowledge that every digital experience platform, every technology stack of a customer is unique. So we believe really in a future where brands can assemble their tech stack as unique as their business, and even more important, as unique as their customers. So you can basically plug and play functionality and build out your own DXP that fits your business needs. As your business grows, you could add more marketing software to it. If you want to replace software, you could do it. So composable DXP, and I think this is really important, is not about the vendor. So if we talk about composable DXP, it's not about Sitecore. It's about the value that that marketing stack and technology stack brings for customers. So that's why you see all the different logo of our you could say competitors, but in a composable DXP, it's not competitors. They're more colleagues in that way. You can use 1 or more products to build out your DXP. I mean, of course, I would prefer that you would use all the 11 products, but that's just not realistic. There is marketing stack already in place. So if your customer already has marketing stack that drives business value, you keep that. There's always an opportunity where they can drive more business value, and that's where you're going to extend their marketing stack that they use. Is marketing stack not working or driving value for a customer? You can replace it. And that's really the beauty of that composable DXP. So let's take a look a bit at Sitecore's composable DXP, and in general, what a core DXP looks like. So if I look at a core DXP, I recognize 2 big pieces. So you got the content lifecycle management, where it's all about building out content and delivering that. And then you have experience optimizations, where you want to create that tailored experience for those visitors. On the edge, as you can see, is global delivery, and then ecosystem integrations. Equally important. Definitely global delivery. You can spend as much time as you want building the best content strategy and building the best content, but if you're not delivering that as a fast experience, there's no value to that content. Integration is equally important, because for integrations, it's the DXP we just talked about. You need to integrate with other marketing stack and other vendors. So as Sitecore, what we see is there's multiple solutions for these different parts. So if you look at content lifecycle, you might need a content management system to deliver web content or omni-channel content. You want to drive conversions or you sell product, you might need commerce. You might need a better digital assets management system. So really, all these pieces are important, but it ends with fast delivery. So performance and things like edge technology, and we'll hit that a bit, is really important. Then on the other side, we see experience optimizations. Again, multiple solutions fit in there, but it's really important that it's about empowering that business user or marketer to create those great optimized experiences with things like a front-end authoring, analytics, personalization, A/B testing. You might want to improve a search experience, or you need a customer data platform. So all these different solutions offer different solutions to business problems that your customer might have. On the right-hand side, again, you would see integrations, so you're able to integrate with any other vendor out there. So at Sitecore, we offer solutions with our 11 SaaS products right now. From content management to personalization to commerce. From ecosystem integration all the way to that fast global delivery. And at the heart, as you can see here, is XM Cloud. And XM Cloud is quite unique because what it does, it offers multiple solutions out of the box. So XM Cloud provides out-of-the-box solutions for content management, front-end authoring, personalization, A/B testing, analytics, and integrations. Then also it comes on top with that omni-channel edge delivery for that fast delivery. So everything is in there, and we'll talk about it later on a bit. But again, it's really important that, yes, I'm talking about Sitecore products, but this is really a composable DXP, meaning that not all these solutions need Sitecore. It's about the value that that software brings. So don't think of Sitecore every time that you want to do. Think about what's the best solution. And we have 11 great products that will help you with things like search, web content management, and I guess XM Cloud really is a good fit to start off with a great core DXP. So before we take a closer look at XM Cloud, I want to take a step back and look at the CMS market from a macro perspective. I've been here 12 years at Sitecore, and we've seen a lot. And again, if I look in the room, there's multiple people that have seen this. So how did we move from a monolith to composable? How do we move from a platform DXP to a headless CMS? What are the pros and cons of these solutions? And again, what's next? So we'll start off with the traditional platform DXP. This is where I would classify Sitecore XP and those similar monolith vendors. So a traditional DSP is really built with the business in mind. It's really focused on the marketer. It comes with tons of functionality and features inside. It's great, it's enterprise ready, it's proven technology, all in one platform, one UI, tons of features, probably a bit too much features than what you need. And everything from one vendor in one place. So all those benefits and pros also brings you to the downsides. Because of all those features that were added on top over all the years, it becomes a really big solution, introducing all this technical depth, making it hard to be agile, to change things, make it harder to upgrade, and making changes you need specific expertise to do so. So it's really a pros and cons. So what happened there is that the market started looking for more agility, and that's where a headless CMS comes in. It's all the way on the other side. It is really focusing on that builder audience, mainly on the developer. It's a pure play content management and deliver focused solution. It's an API on top of content. It's great for omnichannel. It's great that every front-end developer can start blindly using those GraphQL endpoints. And of course, SaaS delivery, automatic upgrades, all these things are all good things. But again, a headless CMS didn't offer tools for marketers because it was only focused on one specific part. You can get what you see is what you get editing by using other providers, but again, you get multi-vendor relationship, and you get the integration and the complexity of that part. So what a headless CMS really did, it made it harder for a marketer to do their day-to-day and to execute their job. So what we need to do is we need to end in the middle. And I see that that's where the industry is now going, words like hybrid headless CMS. And I do see that that is where XM Cloud fits in. So XM Cloud really is an enterprise CMS focusing on that full platform, full role, so from business to builder. So if you look at the builders, right, it is a proven SaaS enterprise CMS, but it removes that load of all the integrations that you need to do if you start compiling your DXP solution all from yourself. But while we'll provide all these out-of-the-box solutions in one UI, it still has that headless delivery and agility for developers, similar like a headless CMS. So you got the fast and modern deployment. I think that's something else that's really important. DevOps came a long way in the past decade, and you want to benefit from it. You want to release software instantly and quickly. You want to build out solutions with technology of choice. It might be .NET, it might be Next.js, it might be Angular, right? I think that is all, those things are all important. But then XM Cloud not only focuses on those developers and on the builders, but also on the business side, because it comes with a seamless experience across multiple marketing stacks. There's one UI, and I'll show you that later on in the demo, where you can do everything from content management to page composition, to personalization, to analytics. And again, I will show you then that XM Cloud is really built with that full team in mind. So before I'm going to show you, I want to talk a bit about those different roles and different team members, and we already addressed them quickly. So to make a successful DXP, we need to cater for the whole team, from business leader to marketer to digital leader to developer. So my interest here, because I'm going to talk about all these different roles and how XM Cloud solves particular business issues, so I do want to get some interaction going here on this floor. Can you raise your hand if you see yourself in the role as business leader? Is there any business leader in here? All right, I'll keep that one short then. The second one, is there anyone that does marketing or is a marketer? All right, here we go. I see a few. Nicole, you should raise your hand. Thank you. That is good. A few there. Digital leader, anyone that is in that role? All right, a few over there. A few more, that's good. And then the final role, developer, who is a developer here. I mean, and it is as expected, right? And also, if you look at the project, there's way more developers on a Sitecore project or a customer than there are marketers. So if you look at practitioners in general, it is a good average cut. But important to know is that everyone, no matter what the role is equally important to that success of a DXP. So just let's take a look at the different roles in the organization and how they look into a composable DXP and a DXP and what's important for them. And I'll start off with the business leader. Although there's no business leaders here, I really believe that if you are a developer, you need to understand where a business leader cares about, because you would work with them on a day-to-day or on a weekly basis. So if you look at a business leader, it's all about the ability for the company, right, to drive business value. So they need to be able to adapt to changes. I guess the pandemic was an example where a business leader said, oh, I need to change my full strategy to be successful. How do I drive more value for my business? And part of that, of course, is also innovation and then meeting the requirements of the customer that is fully unique. So if we touch base on these three things, I think the business leader really is an important one. It starts for me with focus. And this counts for every company. Like, you need to focus on what makes you unique. If as a business you don't focus on what makes you unique, you're not going to succeed. So figure out what makes you unique, and you need to focus on it. If you look at digital experience or companies that are using digital experience platforms for their success, it's really important that they spend their time on what makes them unique and drive business value. They don't want to have all these distractions, right? They're removing all the distractions like hosting, performance. They don't want to think about all these table stakes. They want to focus on the things that actually drive business value. And you can see the removal of all that responsibility really was the catalyst for the industry to move to SaaS, right? So they can focus on driving business value, the hosting and the solution runs somewhere else. So that part really pushes the SaaS journey. The second piece here is the right tool for the right job. So that's the other thing that we're really seeing. So business users really want to get that right tool for the right job. It comes back to agility too. They don't want a big tool that does an okay job for anything, for everything. I think the best metaphor, and I presented this one at the user group conference in Budapest, when we just got into the composable, is that Swiss Army knife that you can lightly see here in the screen on the background. But the Swiss Army knife is a really thick knife. There's tons of blades. I don't know if that's a thing in India, but when I was young, I had one. It was amazing. So you have one thick blade, all different tools in it. Like, most of the tools, I didn't even know what they did, but I liked it. So that was commissioned by the Swiss Army knife to their soldiers so they could assemble their rifle, they could open a can. All these different tools were in there. But really, if you think about it, and you would have this Swiss Army knife in your kitchen, where you also have all your other knives, would you cut a bread with a Swiss Army knife or with a bread knife? If you would be in your garage and you need to tighten a screw, Would you get a Swiss Army knife, or would you get a power drill? So the Swiss Army knife really is a great tool. It has loads of functionality, but it's never the right job or the right tool for the right job. And that's where the Swiss Army knife really nicely translates in the monolith. It has tons of features and functionality. Some you might not even know what they do, but it's never the right tool for the right job. And that's really what is the catalyst for that composable DXP and the selection of best-of-breed software. So the second part then for the business user is the ability to innovate. So when something changes, you want to act immediately. You don't want to wait on a vendor to build out a new integration point or a new feature. Then you don't want to wait till that version finally gets shipped and when you can start implementing it. Then when you implement, you don't want to wait 2 months before you're going to deploy that after an upgrade. You want to act fast, you want to act now. And that's really what puts that business leader ahead of the competition. And again, that drives technology choices. So as Sitecore, really with XM Cloud and that composable DXP, you don't need to wait. So XM Cloud is an API-first approach which enables complete integration. So any feature you would see in the UI is available to a GraphQL API, and there's other extension points available like events, workflows, and webhooks that will notify other applications when things happen so they can react to it. The final part is flexibility, I like that word, to meet unique requirements. So we started with this at the beginning of the presentation. Every business is unique, and so is their marketing stack. But so is their digital experience that they want to offer to their customers. So we want to make it at Sitecore as easy as possible for businesses to meet those unique requirements. So the first thing here is Connect, that I want to talk to you. So Connect is a low-code, no-code solution to integrate different marketing stack. So it comes with connectors and recipes, so you integrate Sitecore products by drag and drop, an easy UI, and then basically you build out recipes using thousands of connectors that are out there. So if you want to learn more, there's a whole video on Discover Sitecore, our YouTube channel, but let me show you it quickly, if we can switch to the demo. That's a long password. All right, here we go. All right, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to the portal. So the Sitecore portal, or the Sitecore Cloud portal, is really the starting point for anyone that works with Sitecore software. So this is where you can find your subscription and what apps are you running in your subscription. So this is currently the Sitecore Developer Relationship subscription I'm running. And these apps are available either for my demos or for the team's demos, or either a live website. The user group conference webpage runs on XM Cloud instance from here. But we'll touch briefly on that later on. So let's just dive into Connect, and we'll go into the dashboard. So again, everything here is single sign-on. So for a marketer, business user, there's no re-login. It just feels like one app there. So this is Connect. What I'm going to show you, there's multiple ways of showing it, but what I like is the community library. Like the user group conference is a community event. This has a very big community with all kinds of connectors and recipes. So I'm just going to look for a community recipe on Sitecore, and then there's already a few there. Let's take this one. I think that's a great one. Add new Salesforce contact to send mailing list subscribers. So I'm going to click on that one. I'm going to say use this recipe so I can edit it to the Pieter project. And give it a moment. And then as soon as I can start customizing, which is a good thing because now I can show you that drag and drop interface. So here in the bottom, it basically says if a new resource comes, add it to the subscriber list on send. Of course, I need to set up these connections to my personal accounts, but I can add custom actions. And this is where you can see the power. I could do an action from an app. I could do an if else. I could repeat things. I could call services. So really, you can extend that integration in here. And if you do action in app, you can see, right, there's a few ones that he thinks you could use, but there's just tons of down here. So there's like thousands of integrations for basically most marketing stack out there. So this is really important where you want to integrate your digital solutions with other vendors out there. The same here to start here. This time it's a trigger from Salesforce. You could also use webhooks to integrate custom or any other custom actions. So there's tons of way to integrate your digital solution using Sitecore Connect. Can we go back to the slides? So the second part about meeting those unique requirements is components. So components, again, is a low-code, no-code solution for component creation. So it offers deep integration with XM Cloud, so it's easy to use data sources, and I will demo that in a moment. But you could also use data sources from other vendors. So you can use any GraphQL or REST endpoint to get the data and build out your components that you can then use in XM Cloud. So no component builder really has two big advantages for the business. It enables marketers and digital technologists to create components without the need of IT and development. And the second part, it frees up developers to focus on making component that actually drives business value. So I'll demo this in the marketer. So basically, this is a really good step to the next role here, the marketer. So for a marketer, when they talk about digital experiences, it's really about efficiency. How can they work efficiently day to day? Like in one UI, modern UI, a single sign-on, all these things is what they care about. Then how do we empower marketers to build out personalized experiences on demand without the need of IT or development? So they're really empowered. And then the final thing is insights, both in performance of content, but also in site performance. So if we can switch to the demo. So what I will do now on the demo is I'll go into Pages. I'll give you an introduction into Pages. We'll build out a new landing page. I'll add a few components. So we'll go to the different pieces of Pages. And then we'll get back to this page to recap. Can we switch to the demo? All right, so the same here. I go back to the Sitecore Cloud as a starting point. And where we're going to work on is this XM Cloud instance I spun up for the demo. So what we're going to do here, we're going to open Pages, which is really that UI where marketers are going to work on the day-to-day. Who here have not seen Pages before, XM Cloud? All right, that's a fair amount. All right. Good, so let me do a quick introduction. Again, there's tons of videos out there that would do it way more deeper. But if you go into Pages, what you would see, that will start on Pages, you will see the site tree, where you could browse the different pages. You could click here, and then you would go into the different areas of the page. So that's a way of browsing the page. So here is the sessions, for example. You could do preview. I think on this resolution, this works a bit better. So let's move on and use this one. And then basically what you can do is you can just change any content. If you click on it, these are the context menus. So if you click on text, you get text. If you click on an image, you get image. So what I want to do now, I'm going to create a landing page. I'll do some what you see is what you get editing, change some content, change some text. We'll add a component to it. Then we'll look at the content in the template section. And then we had a quick overview here of XM Cloud. So I'm going into the landing page. It's going to say, all right, I want to create a new page. I'm going to create a new landing page here. And let's call that SUGCON. There you go. So now it will create that page. And then I can start editing it. So the first thing that we want to do here, of course, is we want to change this image. This has nothing to do with this event. So luckily, I took a picture this morning. So here you go. It feels much more like the event. Welcome. All right. So we had a title. And you see the different things in the context. Right? This is a title, so there's not much option here. This is a rich text field, so there's multiple options here. All right. I'm not going to say, this is the live demo of the keynote. I want to thank our sponsors. All right, all good. So now we want to add something, right, to show off those sponsors. So this is going to bring us in towards components. So Pages is really where you do content editing. Components is where it's about the composition of the page, layout design, those kinds of things. So at the top, you would see all the components that are created with Sitecore components, and we'll create a component later on. So we'll get back to this. On the bottom, you'll see all the components created with headless SXA by the demo team. So what I want to add here, I want to add a selected sponsor grid here that would highlight then the sponsors. I'll add it in here, in this placeholder. What's the data source that you're going to use? So again, it feels very similar. If you work with XM, this XM Cloud will feel same. It's all with data sources. It's very similar and easy to pick up. So just added that component, and here you go. That shows the sponsors grid based on data source. The other thing, and I know this is normal for SaaS vendors, but like again, I've been with Sitecore 12 years. I've worked with XMXP for years. I loved it. It has its pros and its cons, but Just like small things where I could say, I could move things around. I could say, all right, let's move this down, which is fine. All good, but when I delete this, and I'm like, oh, I should not delete it. I could do an undo, right? So it's auto-saving, it's creating versions. I know it's table stake, but if you work with XMXP, this is a really nice feature. So I just like the small things on it. So we added the component here. I think that's all good. Oh, wait, let me undo that one. That makes no sense. No, one more. All right, and so that's components, and we'll get back to that into more details. The other thing is, if you work with the experience editor, there's just fields you couldn't surface because they weren't visible, and what you see is what you get editing. So that's what you can do in this content section. That's where you can surface all the fields where you have configure items or SEO fields. So that's where you surface, again, so the business user can work only from this interface. The next part, templates, which I really enjoy because we're truly a SaaS company. When I'm preparing for this demo, I saw this new button. I didn't even know we had it. So I'm pretty happy with that one. So you can do your page designs, your partial designs. So if I click on the partial design, and a great example is the footer. So let's say I wanted to change something on the footer, which is used on all different pages. I can just click on here, click on edit, and it will bring me in that same UI that I've already seen. So I can use pages and components and change things in the footer. So again, really happy, definitely happy that it automatically I got a magic button to change things, which is always good. So I think that's what I want to show for this part now. If we can go back to the slides. All right, good. So we walked through XM Cloud, right? The general introduction. We created landing page for the user group conference. But now we want to build out a component. I don't like that default promo component, so I'm going to build a new component using components. I can tell you it's not going to be more pretty than the existing component that was in here, but again, it's not about design. My design skills are not amazing. So we're going to build out the component in components. We're going to tie it to an XM Cloud data source. I will show you how you could do other data sources. And then we're going to personalize that experience using personalized. And then we'll wrap it up at the end by going back into the analytics and see what kind of audience we have here and if it's all working. So it's an interactive live demo. If we can go back to the demo. All right. So what we want to do here, we had our newly created user conference landing page, and we have this component, this promo component in there. Beautiful component, but this is not what I want. So I'm just going to delete it. And what I want a different type of components. And I noticed the component is not here. So I'm going to say manage components on the bottom, which will bring me to XM Cloud components. All right, so here you see all the components that we currently have. And I'll create a component. But first, let's look at the top menu and give you a short introduction. Again, I could do a 30-minute demo only on components. If you want to learn more, there's YouTube videos. There is lots of information out there. But quickly to explain you how components works, in the style sections is basically where you define your style sheet with the UI. So you got your fonts, your colors, your graphics. You can do breakpoints, so it's not only responsive design, also adaptive design. I'll build it out at the end of the demo. I'll use that. Spacings, fillings, text elements, and then at the end you bring everything together in a team, and then the business user can easily switch between a dark and a light team, for example. The third part is data sources. So we talked about that. Components can use any data source from consume any API from any other data source. So let's say you're using another headless CMS. You can just connect to that GraphQL endpoint and collect that data. So if you click at data source, you can just paste in JSON, one-off. You could fetch from a URL, or you could fetch from GraphQL. Then it will automatically discover the structure, and you could map it. But again, for this demo, I want to focus on XM Cloud, so we're going to use this user-defined promo item. So automatically, this deep integration with XM Cloud comes out of the box, so you could configure these things. So that's what we're going to build out. We're going to use this component, or this data source, and we're going to create a new component. So the first thing I want to do, I want to add a collection, because I like to be very well organized. So save it, we'll create a new connection, and now we can add a component to that connection. We'll call that promo component. automatically the connection is selected that I just created. So I'll press save, and now I can start editing the component. So this brings me now into the component builder. What you see here is the canvas where I can start building out the component. So my promo component is going to be really, really easy. It's going to be an image, a title, and a text. But I do want to have it in like 2-column layout. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to select my canvas, and you will see the grid showing up. So here I'm going to define, I want my image to be 1/3. I want a bit of spacing. Then this is the container for my text, title and text. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to add that image element into this container. And then we're going to add 2 components here. Adding 4. I think that will be nice. And then we'll add a HTML block where we do our rich text field. All right, that's it. That is a great promo component. But now it's just static content. So I could just type something here, publish it, and use it. Then we got a static component. But the whole goal here is that I want to use XM Cloud data source of the type promo item so I could use it later on with personalization. So what we now need to do is we need to map the content into these elements. So let's start off with the image. So basically for the image, we're going to set the source. So currently it's empty. Again, I could do a static source, place anything to a CDN, that would work, but we want to map it out. What data source do you want to use? So this is where you would see all your data source you have. So again, if I would connect to a GraphQL endpoint from another vendor, I could also use it in the same component and then in XM Cloud. But I'm going to use the user-defined promo item that lives in XM Cloud. You see the discovery of the different fields it has based on the GraphQL. And I'm going to say I need the promo image source. So that's good. We got that one mapped. We're going to do similar for the text. So go here into the heading 4, say mapped. That's the title and the text here. HTML content. Again, mapped, and we'll do the text. Right, that's it. We have our component. Let's just stage it before we publish it, and then we'll go back into pages. Let me refresh it so it loads all the new components. And then we're going to add our newly created promo component to our newly created landing page. All right, so our group is called the user group comments, and this is our promo component. Perfect, let's add it underneath our sponsors. Keep it nice and compact. And then it's going to ask, because it recognizes it needs a data source of the type promo component, it's going to ask which data source do you want to use. So I'm going to use the pre-build out promo here, the default promo. And I'm going to assign it. And that will show our component. So here's our component. Right, it's a QR code. Don't do anything with it. We'll get to that later on. But I'm going to try to get mobile users into this website. I think that's what we really want to do here. So that's our default data source. But the thing that we want to do here, if you are on a mobile phone, I want to personalize this component. Because if you're on your mobile phone, why would I ask you to visit with a mobile phone? So that brings us basically to the next part where we haven't been. That brings us to personalize. So I'm going into personalize now on this page, and it recognizes there's just a default variant. There's no second variant. So I'm going to create a personalization variant for this page. So just click on create variant. Let's give it the name mobile. And what you would see here is that we need to create our audience. And if you work with XM or XP, you would recognize that it has a very similar look and feel. So when I click add condition, it's a bit like the rule engine in XM XP. But this is where the magic happens. The tag underneath it is Sitecore personalized. So it's another composable product that's running this. So it feels the same because we've learned what worked well and what didn't work in the past so many years. So we're trying to use our learnings and then build it out in a composable way with different SaaS products. So everything that you see here comes from personalized. And as soon as I save it, it will push that out to personalized. So we build out that deeper integration ourselves between those products. So this is, again, out of the box. We haven't customized. So this is the personalized features that you get out of the box with embedded personalization with XM Cloud. So this is not with a full subscription, because that's the other benefit. This is already using personalized. So let's say you want to personalize more. You want to do omni-channel personalization. You can just enable the full product and get more features without any upgrade or code changes. So you can do all kinds of things based on region, country, visit of day, week, month. First refer, I like UTM value if you want to do campaigns. You probably want to use that one. device, operating system, all kinds of things, right? Page views, first page, or returning visitor. So that's all included. We're going to use the device, and we're going to say if someone is using a mobile device, then I want to surface this variant. So it's successfully saved. I can close it, and now you would see that it's going to load that second variant. And what's happening now in the UI is you see all these yellow targets. And the yellow target indicates the components that you can personalize, but they aren't personalized yet. As soon as you personalize, it gets a different color. So let's scroll down, and you would see that our brand new created component, we can personalize it. And we're going to personalize it similar again as XMXP by changing the data source. So we're going to assign another data source here in the data folder. And we'll take the mobile promo. So here, now it will show you that mobile promo. That looks pretty good. So when you are on default, we ask you to visit it with a QR code with mobile. When you are on a mobile, you get the thank you. But now I want to preview, right? Because we're assuming that you get this variant when you are on a mobile. So I'm going to preview it on mobile. And the thing I see is that the thank you gets really small. So what I really want to do, I don't only want to do responsive design, I want to do it adaptive. And again, this is possible then with XM Cloud Components. So if I would go back into the component builder, I could create another variant. So I'm going to duplicate this version. And it basically brings me to exactly the same version. But I'm going to say this version needs to be used for only small and extra devices. And again, this has been defined in the styles as breakpoints. So that's it. I'm going to even preview it as small, or extra small, so it feels like a phone. And what I basically want to do is move this image on top of the block, delete this container, and make this container the full width. Right? That's what we want. That's what we want for a mobile phone. So I need to stage this one. The other thing I want to do here, I want to change that this is not used with extra small and small. And then I'm going to restage this one. Going back to this page, if I would go to the default page, nothing would show, right? It would be, oh, you already see it's working. Because I'm previewing, if I go to a wider screen, it will be next to each other. If I would go to the mobile screen, you will see the thank you. And again, we know it's going to be mobile, so it's going to be a small view. And then you now see that the image is on top. So again, way more fit. So not only responsive design, but also adaptive design. The second thing that you could do in components is to change, for example, the theme. So let's say for a mobile phone, I like the dark theme more. So I could say, right, this is the variant I want to have for a mobile phone. The other thing I could do is I could add more components to it. So I know that my promo component has a CTA, but I only want to show the CTA on a mobile device. So I could say, or on a small screen. So I could just say, right, I want to add a component of the type button. I'll just throw it in here. Let's say it, experience. Oh, you gotta love the mouse. All right, undo. It's so good. Now learn to type, Peter. Undo. All right. I'm gonna call this experience XPy. It should be more. One more time. I don't know. Bear with me with the typo there, but that's fine. All right, so we got this element, and the same here. This link needs to go somewhere, so I'm going to map here the link to the same content. I'm going to say, all right, use the promo CTA link for that. All good. We're going to restage. Fairly easy to check. The default one would be then white on a bigger screen and next to each other. Then if we would go mobile, and we know it's going to be a small device here, we would see it's now the dark one with a link on the bottom that would go to the live website. All right, so that is that whole part of the demo. Let me press publish here, and if we can go back to the slide, I will recap before we get back. All right, so I just pushed that publish button. So I quickly want to recap what is going on. So we've been working as a marketer here using Pages, XM Cloud components, all these different parts, and they're all part of that XM instance. As soon as we then push that publish button, What happened there is all the content and layout data went pushed to the Experience Edge, which again is also part of the XM Cloud product. Experience Edge is global scale based on CDN technology, so it doesn't matter if you would visit this from India, Australia, America, Europe. It doesn't matter, right? That is what CDN technology solves for you. So this whole part is Sitecore managed, right? So again, we take ownership of this. So this is where you see the reduction of ownership for the customers, and we would take more ownership of this so we can control it. So what happened in this example, we built that demo website you just see, the Play Summit, based on the Next.js, hosted on Vercel for static site generation. And again, static site generation also brings out benefits. So it's the same story there. All these sites are statically generated, posted on CDNs across the world. So the good thing is this site, and that's why I can do this demo live, I couldn't do this with XM or XP, will now be available in the background. It's regenerating that page globally, and we can just interact with it. And the speed here in India would be as good as it would be in America. So it's really good technology. So if we can go back to the demo, I'll then. All right, so we'll go into the live environment. This is always good. So you can see it's just running here on Vercel. All right, here we go. So it's currently loading. So let's find the landing page. I mean, luckily I know that I need to type that. If everything goes well, this should be it. All right, so it's, oh, let me refresh. This is the one, because it's static site generation. So the first time I'm hitting it, it's regenerating. So this is what will happen, but here it is, right? So yeah, I am prepared. I did a practice run. So you saw the old cached version, and then with static site generation, the first one that hits it, gets the old version. Then I did a refresh. It was rebuilding on the background, gets the new version. So now we're all good. All right, so welcome to India. Thank you to our sponsors. All good. Mobile visitors are the best with a QR code. So now the most exciting point. If you could grab your phone and scan this QR code and then see if you get the personalized variant, you'll be a great help, because otherwise I cannot do my next demo around analytics. So I do need that data, and hopefully people see that personalized version. Oh, sounds good. Someone saw it? Yeah. All right, good. That's great. And again, this is where I really like that CDN technology. So I've done the demo before. Some people didn't get it. And then I went into a questionnaire, and they were using a VPN. So let's say we have someone that comes from the US and using a VPN to the US, then it might not be populated across the world. So it's really nice to see how the technology works. All right. So that's good. We build out that mobile visitor, which will then bring us to the final part, is insights. So we've seen all different pieces of XM Cloud, but we haven't gone to analytics. So if everything is correct, you've all been on that page. Like one more thing, like if I go into this page, and you can try it on your phone, it is really, really fast, right? Again, images are loading a bit slower. Internet is not the fastest, but if you look at the text here, you can see it instantly updates. It's the images that are lacking because they're big images, so the internet is a bit slow. But the speed of this website is just incredible, right? If you work with XP, XM, it's nearly impossible to get this speed with a service-generated page, and definitely across the globe. So it doesn't matter who visits this page; it's going to be extremely fast. But again, you have it on your phone, so click around. It's the live environment, so you would see the speed. So let's go back into pages to wrap it up with the analytics part. So as a marketer, you want to know when people are visiting, what are they visiting, how is content performing. Analytics does. It's really a high-level analytics overview. And again, the same here. You see a dashboard here, but on the back end, this is fueled by CDP. So again, we're using our SaaS products, and then we're embedding it in versions into XM Cloud. So here you see we got 56 visitors every time. It's a bit cheating because, as you can see, on Thursday, I asked my team to visit the website. So there's been a high peak here, but people have been visiting on different times. Mainly the US, probably if we would go in a shorter time span, there would be a higher visiting rate from India. What have been mainly visit, again, on the last 7 days, and all different types of insights. Like Of course, there's no source because I don't have any deep links there. Different OSs and everything would be in there. So if we would go to the let's see, 3 hours. Right, we can see that we had 99 visitors. Not all data has been aggregated at this moment, again, because that is not really actual, but we had 99 visitors, so thank you. That wasn't everyone, but still good, still good. Mainly visiting the user group conference page, which makes sense because the QR code went directly into there. And then the data later on will populate when CDP started aggregating the data and building it out. The second part that then I want to show is the page insights. So you know we're currently on this landing page we created, and we had 2 variants. We didn't only have the default one, we also had the mobile one. So this is where you can now compare the views of the 2 different views. So I can say, all right, the variant default versus mobile perform differently. So it's just comparing all the different data, mainly India here on the mobile, which makes sense because we just showed this here. And if you look at the devices, it's mainly Chrome and Safari, so I guess Android users and iOS users. So that's really that analytics part. So if we can go back to the slides. All right, so on the marketing side, really what we did, we went end-to-end. We created that landing page. We created our own component. We added that component to that landing page. Then we personalized that landing page. You visit that all on CDN technology, blazing fast experience. And then we saw the analytics of and the tracking, what actually happens. So again, that's really where that marketing is about. So let's move on and go into that builder corner. What is a digital leader cares about? I mean, a digital leader, it's all about low management overhead, compliance, and that fast and stable experience across the globe. So if you look at low management overhead, XM Cloud is fully SaaS. I'll show you when we get into the developers. We do automatic deploys, updates, enhancements. It all gets pushed out. So there's no more updates, no more upgrades. It's really a true SaaS solution, which also includes that continuous delivery of features and updates. And next to that, we have the cloud portal we already showed, which provides you a clear overview of all the different pieces that are involved in your DXP. The second part is compliance. It's never a favorite topic, but compliance is important in a world where it's full with data protection and privacy laws that you need to commit to. It's about ISO certification. So all these things are really important. When you start using a SaaS vendor, you basically outsource again that part and responsibility of all the certificates, and you push that towards the SaaS vendor, Sitecore in this case. And then the third one is that stable and fast experience across the globe. So this goes back to what we just demoed, that CDN technology. Because again, you can build out the best digital experience, but if it's not fast, it won't help, it won't drive that business value. So CDN technology, XM Cloud is powered by those next generation CDNs, and it serves that modern experience fast across the world. So for a digital leader, this means no more worries about Christmas or Black Friday or any other peak days. No more worries about global scaling, and that's really a big benefit. And that is really important because if you look at a digital leader, they're responsible at the value of web presence and what that web property does. And a big metric is a lighthouse score, for example, which would indirectly help you with better search results and drive better conversions. So that's fast speed and that CDN delivery is really important for the digital leader. So now let's move on then to the final role here, the one we have most in. So really, if you look at developer, it's important that they can develop fast, right? You want to develop fast. You want to work efficiently. You want to have that freedom of choice of technology. Even more important, like what I get most excited from is that DevOps, fast deployment, just the way of working fully changed there. And then the other one is we want to reduce that onboarding time. If you want to expand your team and you need more developers, you don't want to train them up for weeks. We need to reduce that time. So that's really the three main focus areas. So the freedom of choice of technology, right? We're Jamstack ready, so you can develop your solution with any technology that you want. We have SDKs, of course, for Next, but if you use the GraphQL APIs, you can build it out with any technology that you want. The same thing for hosting your front end. You can use any of the edge hosting out there. I was using Vercel, but you could use Netlify, Cloudflare, Azure, you name it. Then the third one that I want to do with the demo is really the one I like the most. It's fast deployment, right? You want modern DevOps tooling. The world changed a lot with how we do DevOps, how we do deployment. You want to do, as a developer, continuous delivery, no more big waterfall, long release cycles. You don't want to wait how you would push out your release. Really, that's what we want to do, because that will drive business value too. And that's why we are working together closely with out-of-the-box integrations into things like industry standards, like a Vercel and a GitHub. So if we can jump in the demo, I have 10 minutes. So, oh, lovely. All right. So we'll go back to the cloud portal. And what you see again, the starting point of your journey in Sitecore, XM Cloud Deploy is also here on the top. So I'm going to click XM Cloud Deploy, which would show me the deploy app from Sitecore. So let's start off with just walking through that menu on the left. So we got projects, and we'll go deeper in that. You can see the deployments from all your different projects. I normally would go through my project to deployments, but you can see that. You can see credentials, so who's in your organization and who can do different things. Connections to source control. So I got my connection here to GitHub, for example, that I will demo in a moment. You can find different links to documentation. Another important part when we're a SaaS vendor is when something doesn't work, you might want to figure out if our systems are okay. So in here you can find the system status, and you would see that everything is healthy. So we're all good. So what I want to do now, I want to go into my project. So this is the project we've been seeing, we've been working on, we've been demoing on. So I could just click on this project, and what I would see is that I only have one environment. I just created the environment demo here. It's tied to my main branch on GitHub, and when I do any commits, it will be automatically deployed. So again, you could configure that. You might not want to do this on your production environment, auto-deploys, right? So, but for a development or a test environment, this is a great way. For demo, also a great way. So I could just click in here, we'll go into the environment, and I can see all my deployments that are out here. I made a few mistakes with an early morning dry run here, but I fixed it later on, so we're good. So you see your different deployments. What I really like here is you can see auto deployments from Sitecore. So again, this is where we release new features, updates, enhancements, fixes. It's all being pushed automatically towards you. Sites is where you could connect your Vercel sites and your hosts. Details where you can get the full overview. But then very interesting is the CM, the content management log files. Again, if you are developing, you might want to figure out what's going on and check the log files. So again, here you can find all these different details. But for now, I just want to go in here and let's show you one of these builds that have been fired off. So what basically would happen is it will provision, it would build, deploy, and then as a post action, it will put all your custom code on top of it. So you would see the post actions by far the biggest one, because the demo solution is a fairly robust solution there. So it's connected to GitHub. So if I click here, this would bring me to my GitHub account, and you can see the change I done. So if I click here, you would see my repository. So I already connected that with Visual Studio Code. So what we want to do here is, if I go to this website here, our live website, I want to remove these dashes, or I want to add these dashes. Let's see what we want to do there. So I know if I would go into pages that this is the 3-column layout. We have pages open, sites. All right, give it a moment. Landing page. Oh, sorry, it was the home page we're going to change something on, so I don't need to go to the landing page. So what we want to do here is we're going to add the 3-column section. That's the name of the component that we want to edit. So if I go into Visual Studio Code, I already had it open for the sake of speed. And then we could just add any text here. I could say, doesn't really matter. We want AA across, maybe that's a bit ugly. Let's say we want 2 rows, and that's just something we want to do in code, and we don't want anyone to edit it. So I made my changes now, which is a simple front-end change. I'm going to save it, so source control will see that one change here. So now I'm going to click on source control, and I can commit my changes. So edit that one. And now I'm just going to say, all right, commit and push. If you would go back now to GitHub, you would see, here you go. If I refresh this page, you would see that GitHub noticed that there's something changing. So the fix is the commit. Oh, it's not the fix. All right, there it is. Pieter Brink added the beautiful 2 stripes. And you can see it's currently waiting because some checks have not been completed, because Vercel is currently deploying. And again, this is where the beauty of DevOps and all the different tools come together, because I can just click in details here, which will then push me to Vercel, and I can see the current deployment, the status, and what's going on. All right, so it's building. 37 seconds on its way, right? You could see all the log files if we want to do that. But again, for now, I just want to go back to the slides, and I can explain a bit what's happening behind. If we can go back to slides. So we talked about this overview, where the marketer was working in pages, but there's more in that Sitecore managed instance that we do. Another big part is that building and deployment service that we have out there. And you can configure and work with that using the web UI you've seen or the CLI. There's 2 ways of working with that. So what just happened here is as a developer, we were working directly on GitHub with Visual Studio Code, again, whatever coding tool you want to use, and then I committed that change into GitHub. At that point, I had Vercel pointing to that GitHub repository. It noticed there's a front-end change, and it would start regenerating that page. That's what we just seen. So let's say you want to do a more complex change on XM Cloud. What you then would push that in, and then it will go to Sitecore deploy. So Sitecore deploy would create that package then, and then layer it on top of the XM Cloud instance. And that way you would have all your customizations and your new components and what you want to have in XM Cloud. From that point on, then you can again publish that to the Experience Edge, and then again Vercel will pick up those changes and recreate your page. So that will close the full loop. So the build is still going, I can see that here, but if we can switch back, it should be finished any moment. All right, good timing, just finished. So if everything goes well, it's funny, you can see the screenshot that it created itself already has the 2 dashes, but if I would go to my live website, you would see that there's now 2 dashes. Again, here, and that's the change. So can we go back to the slide? All right, so that's that end-to-end story for that developer, how you want to change and how modern DevOps will really make you all very efficient. And it's just a joy to work with. The last part for developer, and I think it's an important one, is moving to more industry standards. And you can see it in my demo. I'm using GitHub, right? I'm using Vercel, I'm using Next.js. It's less about Sitecore, it's more about industry standards, making everyone's life here easier. It would be easier to find new talent, which is always hard. It would be easier to start and onboard with Sitecore. And I think that's really important that we drastically reduce that onboarding time for a developer. So with that, I really want to wrap it up and to remind you that I do feel that digital experience, building a digital experience is a team sport. So all these players that we see up here are equally important. A business can only win if all these players are successful. And with XM Cloud, our focus is to set up all these different players for success by catering for all their different needs. So then I had one more slide, and I think Dharmesh had it saying there too. I think it's important that we all connect with each other. So there's multiple Sitecore people here. Even more, I just figured out when we open. But make sure that you join their sessions, and that if you have something, connect with them. So you have Rob, who will be next after me on the stage, talking about search. Then tomorrow morning we'll open with Andy on XM Cloud. Then we have Alistair right after that one on the Edge GraphQL schema. Marvin is also presenting today, that's today. That Marvin is here. And then there's more people you could reach out to. So myself, Nicole is here, who runs the event if you want anything about the MVP program, community. I think you're also presenting tonight, is that tonight? Yes, about the MVP program. Anita is sitting here on the front, so if you, anything about alliance partnerships, that is Anita. And Abi Rush will be here tomorrow. And then we also had someone from customer success, which is always good. Just met them, and two from finance. Always good, yeah. So with that, I want to thank you all for the long hour. We made it 59 minutes, so that's good. Thank you all, and with that, Rob, I think it's your turn.